Hi everyone. So today we have with us a very interesting person from semicon industry. So today we have with us Abhishek Maurya, and he is going to share with us his journey. And in this podcast session, is going to be very interesting. And I'm going to make sure that Abhishek and I Abhishek shares his journey at most is possible. So over to Abhishek. So I have a couple of questions. So I would try to make it as interesting as possible. So starting off, so the first question is Abhishek. So what inspired you to pursue your current career?
Okay, so first thing is in my college, I was very much passionate about electronics engineering, and I was very much interested in the problem solving, skills. So I thought maybe I should start career in VLSI, and VLSI industry is like really promising. It currently it has like good job opportunities in India as well. So I think this is a good opportunity if anyone is from the electrical or electronics background. So that is the reason I try to pursue.
Great. So the next question is so till now, like, what's your biggest failure, like till now in your journey, and what did you learn from that? So that's a very tricky question, but yeah.
Starting with a difficult question. Okay, so I don't know whether I should call it as a failure or as a lesson. So before entering into VLSI industry, I was pursuing, I was trying for engineering services examination. I gave 2 attempts and I did not got. So what I learned from there, right? I got to a few good things as well. One good thing, right? I get the habit to study for long hours. I can sit for like long hours and focus. This is the one thing which I still getting benefit of. And what I learned was that you should not. I mean, it's good to have a clear goal, but you should always have some backup plan also. That if because even though you are giving your 100%, the result might not be in your favor. Even though you are giving your 100%, so you should always have some backup plans with you. So that is the one thing I learned from that experience.
Okay. So I mean, what kind of backup plans you had that time,
So at the same time, I was preparing. I was giving GATE. I got 98 percentile in my GATE. I got offer from multiple colleges for pursuing masters. That's why even though after that I started pursuing my masters with the help of that GATE score.
Okay. Great. Okay. Coming to the next questions. So it's a very interesting question. So any book or movie that had given an impact to your life or in your career?
I think this is one of my favorite questions. So I'm a movie buff actually. I love watching movies. I don't think even a single day I don't watch a movie or series. Okay. So first about the book. So the one book which I really liked is Eat That Frog from Brian Tracy. So it's about this book is about how you can prioritize your task and how to eliminate the procrastination. Okay. So this book helps us to how to prioritize your task, and this book I think it still helps me till this date. So this is a good book. And in terms of movie, I think there are hundreds of movies. I mean, we need another podcast session for the movies. But one thing is, one movie I really liked was Martian. This movie is about astronaut who went to Mars and he got stuck there and he was trying to survive. He was trying to one problem, another problem to get back to Earth. So it was a really inspirational movie actually.
So we have interest in aerospace as well.
Yeah, so I was doing my master's in the defense college only, DRDO. So a lot of my batchmates were from from Indian Air Force, Indian Navy. Yeah, so even my college it's a defense college actually. It has a lot of tank. It's not like conventional colleges actually. It has inside my college there are like fighter planes are there. I mean, so it's obvious, right? You get the.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so coming to the next question. So one of the things what we understand is so in this industry there are a lot of stress. I mean, a lot of people. I interact with a lot of people, So they say they talk about like stress about this industry, especially during the tape outs and all. So what's your take on that? Like how you, what kind of stress you face, or like how you try to find a solution to it.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, no matter right in which company you are, I think at some point you will get overwhelmed by some of the work, because sometimes it's like up and down. Sometimes you get a lot of work. So when I get overwhelmed, right, whether it's my personal life or professional life, I prefer to write it down. Okay, so suppose you have 10 issues with you. I write each one of them precisely what is the issue. And if, I mean, I just go through those issues again and think whether if this can be delayed or not. If this can be wait, if this can wait, I will leave that task, and the other task, right, which is on priority, I try to do that.
Okay.
So I think writing down the problem right is my best way to, tackling this stress.
Okay.
And work-life balance, I think for work-life balance, I think I focus this 9 to 5 work only. I mean, in that period of time, I don't prefer to talk on the phone, because this is work from home, hybrid situation, right? People, if you are working home, nobody is watching you. But I prefer to finish it, all the work between 9 to 5. After that, instead of working long hours, and so focused work, I think, is the one solution for balancing the work-life balance.
Okay. So the next question comes is like I mean, out of my interest, like so I mean, as you said, like so apart from that, like since to relieve your stress, so you do any kind of activity, you are engaged with any kind of activity.
Yeah, so I lift weight. Actually, I really love going to the gym, and on weekends sometimes I do swimming as well, and once in a while I go for traveling. That is. But I think the most helpful thing for me is lifting weights actually in the gym.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
So which are the places you travel? Like,
So last month I
so I forgot to tell that so Abhishek is from Ayodhya, and as we all know that so there is place about Ayodhya is a very beautiful place. Yeah, so back to you.
Yeah, so actually nearby there also, like, there are so many places, spiritual places also, right? Like Kashi is there, Varanasi. So I mean, for me, like Varanasi, Kashi, like these are right. These are like just I can go, like, very small thing for me. Like these are very nearby places. People think it's a very big place, right? I mean, I was born there. I was living there. I used to go to Kashi, so it's, yeah. So, and few months back I went to Gokarna.
Oh.
Yeah, I really like that place. Yeah, it's a very peaceful place.
Yes. Okay, so coming to the next question. So what do you do? Like as you said, like so can you recall a pivotal moment like that changed your life? I mean, any major in your journey, any major situation or anything which changed your life in a drastical way?
Okay, so one thing is coming up in my mind. So after my bachelor's, right, I was trying to pursue masters, and I had two options. I can take the electrical engineering courses, right, core electrical, power electronics, and something like that, or I can go into the semiconductor industry, VLSI industry. So the thing was, I have done my bachelor core electrical, and VLSI is like core electronics. So there was two options. I can have my comfort zone and stay in the electrical, but I was really fascinated about this VLSI industry, right? What other things is happening, and it is like a leading of all the industry. So I thought, I mean, even though I didn't know electronics, I was practical, right? Whether I will able to learn it or not. But I thought electrical engineering is also one thing that I learned. It's not like I got it from the start, right? So I thought that the way I learn electrical, I will learn electronics as well. So I with so much question, right? With so much afraid, I choose electronics. But till this now, I mean, I think it is the best decision I made.
So over to you, like so one of the thing we should also tell our audience, like so mostly like students who are aspire to pursue this career. So what's your take, like if they are want to change their branch, like someone from different branch want to pursue into VLSI domain. So what's your suggestion to them?
I think one thing is you should not be afraid to explore. you should definitely try. So one thing, right, I didn't know how to program. I didn't know anything how to write a code until I joined my masters. Okay, I didn't wrote any code. So, but when I started doing that, I till this time I love coding actually. I love writing code. I love how these things, right? How things these things make sense actually. So one thing I will tell I want to share is that you should not be afraid to explore new fields, and don't be afraid. If you like it, you're going to learn it the way you learn the earlier things. And don't be afraid to ask for help. There's I mean, if you're going to ask for help, like if you ask help from 10 people, 8 people might not going to reply, but I think 1 or 2 people might going to reply. So don't be afraid to ask for help, and when you get the help, always acknowledge it. That is also an important thing.
So that's a very interesting point what he has made. So one of the things which I have also experienced is like, so it's not that, you should not hesitate to ask question or explore, as he said, and maybe like, out of 10 or 20 people you seek help from, maybe like 1 or 2 people can help you, but you should always open to the challenges and open to the what will I say, the avoidance, or like, if someone is not responding to it, it's okay. Like, don't be scared of that. It is okay and it's very normal. So maybe 1 or 2 people, if they help you, I mean, be open to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so coming to our next question is like, so who is the most influential person in your journey? Like, maybe like, I will put it up in this way, that who has inspired you, or like who has in your journey, like there will be ups and downs. So who was there, like who inspired you to be where you are currently?
So not one people, right? There are so many people, and actually instead of person, right, I prefer to cherry pick the qualities which they have, right? Suppose somebody is telling that they have done this with the help of this habit or something, right? So whether it's a personal life, it's a professional life, right? Even from my industry or outside also, I see, right, what is a good thing, right? I try to take the good thing from any people, right, which I think is a inspiring one.
Very good answer. Yeah. Okay, so the next thing is like, what's the best compliment you have ever received?
Okay, compliment. So one thing, right? I when I started my masters, I had zero knowledge of coding, as I said earlier, right? And we had one exam coming up in 1 month, FPGA programming. In that, we have to write a code, dump in on the FPGA, and get it done. So in 1 month, I tried my best. I go on the weekend and I try to learn the code. We were doing code on VSTL, and in 1 month I was able to do. But I was I was not confident, whether I will going to solve it or not, because just 1 month. And the question came, and it was like 3 hour question. We had to write the code. We have to dump on the FPGA. Then we have to show the waveform on the CRO. It's like a huge task. Okay, but somehow I was able to do within the time frame, and I got 10 out of 10. So it was not a compliment, but till this day I think it is. I got so many accomplishments, but this is one of my best accomplishments this time.
Got it. Yeah. So the next question is like, so most of our audience may want to know. So what are your favorite subjects in school and colleges? Like,
So I think it's physics. I think for me, physics always made more sense actually. And when I did my BTech, so network analysis, right, and this digital electronics, these are like my favorite, right? These I don't consider it as a study actually. Digital electronics is something which is a fun actually.
okay. So coming to our next question. Uh, so what do you believe? So little bit about your industry. So what do you believe that sets your industry different from other industry? Like when I'm telling about industry, means semiconductor industry different from the other IT industry or like some finance industry. So according to you.
Okay, so this is I heard from very experienced person in my industry. Okay, so he told that there is no scope of error actually in the VLSI industry. there is no scope of error. Suppose you are designing a chip and you have missed one bug, or you ignored that bug, and when it got manufactured, right, it is customer is using it, and if they found that issue, then you're going to pay ton of money actually. Company going to be a lot of loss, because suppose if you are building a software, right, you that is on Play Store, and you had a bug, you can quickly give a new, bug fix, new software. But if anything happen in this hardware design, right, you have to call back. You must have heard of, so sometimes the smartphone company has to call back their all the phone. Just think how much capital loss is happened in that. So one thing is there is no scope of error actually. You cannot let any error to skip. And the other thing is like this kind of industry requires a lot of capital investment actually. Fabrication lab, the fabrication lab, one fabrication lab is still cost around like 5-10 billions of dollars. So it is really difficult to establish. Even India is also struggling to have a commercial fabrication lab. So this is also one thing.
Actually, that's a very good point what he has mentioned. So, I mean, those who are aspiring to be in this industry. So, one thing is that like this industry is not, it's complex compared to other industry. That is one of the thing, and you don't have any scope of error. You can't do any kind of error in this designing, because one error can lose your company billions of money. So this is one thing I would like to mention. Yeah, please. Okay, so coming to the next question. So normally, like what we see is like there are a lot of misconceptions among the students and the people who wants to come to this industry. So we'd like to address them, like what are the misconceptions and how they need to know about it, like so from people like you.
So this is especially for the freshers. I see a lot of resume of the fresher, right? And one thing I noticed is that the fresher, right, they either focusing on the front end, or they're focusing on the back end. So VLSI, right, the job is like basically front end and the back end. Front end has the design verification, and the back end has floor planning, right, physical design and the timing closure. So the resume which I see, right, is like they have a knowledge of only front end, or they have the knowledge of only back end. But the thing is, suppose if you are entering, you are going to apply for the job, and you are only know about front end. So basically, you let go the 50% job opportunities basically. So that is the one thing that if you are starting the career, both front end and back end has equal opportunity. They had good salary, they had good opportunity. So you should not just focus on one, especially if you are a fresher. So you should focus on both. This is the one thing I would like to suggest. And the other thing is regarding, yeah, so now it has become a trend, right? People are thinking that to enter into VLSI industry, you must do a coaching, and that is actually not true. If you want to enter into the VLSI industry, I didn't do any coaching. I didn't spend a single penny actually. There are good courses on NPTEL. You can go to that. There are so many good videos on YouTube. You can refer that also. There are so many VLSI forum also. LinkedIn has a lot of content. So I think if you are disciplined enough, you don't need any coaching or anything. I think that will be.
So that's a very good point, like what he has mentioned, because I also prefer, like when I was trying to join this industry, I had all these things in my mind that I had to join a coaching. So he has cleared the doubts, like so it's not that always you have to go for any coaching center to learn something. You can prepare by yourself, like you did. So it's about your hardware determination and the way you are strategizing yourself to prepare for the interview to get in the industry. So that's the solution and that's the strategy. Yeah. So coming to our next question. Okay, so one of the things is like the audience may want to know, like what's usually goes behind the scenes, something behind the scenes. When I say like, it's like what the people don't see in the in your industry, in your specifically in your company, and which is very challenging. I mean, so what I want to say is like what the students who are aspiring to be in this industry, they don't see. So they feel everything is fancy and all these things. So if you want to share something, some incident or what is in the back, what it goes, how it is, if you share with the audience, it will be.
Okay, so I mean, first thing is right. VLSI is right. Is this industry is like top innovation is at the top actually, because every Moore's law, right? We need to have a chip more efficient every year, right? So the thing is, we are going for lower and lower nodes. So the technology road, right? From 10 nanometer, 7 nanometer, 5 nanometer, we are even going even smaller node. As we go to the lower node, right? The challenges become exponentially high, right? So to make the design physical bug free, DRC clean, to make your design timing clean, it become really challenging. And there's a ask, right, from the management that you have to time to the market, right? You need to release that product within a time frame, because if you delay that product, then its value get decreased, because there's a huge competition. There are so many companies who are, they have neck to neck fight. They are, releasing a product. So if you delay your product, then obviously you will lose a lot of money. So at the time of tape-in, you need to spend a lot of time. Actually, they will not consider it's a new year or it's a Christmas. If it's a tape-in time, then it's a tape-in time. You need to focus. So that is
That's a very nice point what he has mentioned. Okay.
So coming to our next question, one of the things like in this industry, it's very important to keep yourself very updated about the industry. So how do you stay updated about the industry and what's going on around in the semiconductor industry?
Okay, so one thing which I was doing earlier, even before coming to industry, is that I was using LinkedIn a lot. So I think LinkedIn is a very easy source to up to date, because there are so many people who keep updating what is happening in the industry. Suppose someone has done some research in the VLSI industry, they will post the paper. So LinkedIn is the first thing which anyone can do. The next thing is, right, I started attending the conferences. Actually, there are so many companies, they host some of the conferences, and in that conference they will deliver, what is the new methodology, what is the new innovation that is happening. So I think that is also really helps to get to know what is happening in the industry actually.
Yes, correct. So another interesting question is like, so who are some of the thought leaders like or influencers like in your field, like who inspires you or like who helps you in some or the other way?
So first person is Pat, our CEO, Intel CEO. So he joined Intel, and all companies had an ups and downs, and he's very much optimistic, and he's trying his best actually to put Intel at the top again. So the effort he's making, the passionate, right? And whenever I see his video, he's really passionate. He's so much energy to do something. So that gives me also the energy, that we also have to do something, to make this a better company.
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen his energy with some of the interviews.
Yeah,
His lot of energy. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So coming to our next question. So earlier also we had discussed about it, but if you want to go, if you could have a conversation with your like younger self, like when you are like few years back. So what advice would you have given, like
Okay, so one thing is, don't be afraid to explore actually. Because some things, I mean, I heard from a lot of electrical engineers that I mean, they were saying that why you are going into electronics industry. It's like it's very different. You cannot learn. It will be difficult for you. But the thing is, if you are passionate, if you do some hard work, I mean, obviously you need to grill. Sometimes you need to spend on weekends, right? You need to study. You need to study a little bit more. But whatever you want to learn, I think you can learn. Actually, I think you should have a mentality of exploring actually. So this is the one thing I want to say. Another thing is, if you get failed, that's totally fine. That does not define you. you can keep trying something new and new. Because if you are trying something new, definitely you're going to fail. If you are not failing, then definitely you are not in the correct pool. Actually, you should be in different pool.
So another thing is like with failure, like
Yeah.
you learn a lot of
Yeah,
things.
agree.
That is
Yes.
Yeah. So what is the common myth about your job? Like,
so you are, I believe, like you are into verification engineering, right?
So I am a physical design engineer.
Physical design. Okay.
Yes.
fine. So any myth you want to clarify to the audience, like?
Okay, so I think this myth is been with the fresher. So if you want to enter a VLSI industry, you don't have to code. That is not true, because we are so right now the whole VLSI flow is completely automated, and we are doing automation with the help of scripting. If you want to give command to the tool, we are doing with the help of code. So there is no way you can skip the code. One way or another, you have to do coding. So you cannot skip that. This is the one misconception. And yeah, as I told, right, that coaching is not required. You can study by yourself. Yeah, one more thing I would tell, that maybe in other industry that it happens that okay, you learn one technology, you learn one tool, and you are good to go. You can settle, right? But what is happening is in VLSI industry, you need to keep upgrading yourself. There is no way you can survive without learning new things. You need to keep upskilling yourself. You have the eagerness to learn new things. Otherwise, you will be replaced actually.
So this is one of the interesting point to what he has mentioned is that what students don't understand is that this industry is not only design. So when you talk about design, along with that, all of you should have an understanding about programming language. Be it be C language, be it be Python, Perl, whatever language, but you should know about the concept. The fundamental should be clear. In any of the divisions, like in any of the domain, be it be verification engineering, be it be physical design, wherever you go, you need programming language to understand at least. Yeah. So our next question is like, so any challenges like you're facing in your job currently, and how you're tackling it. So when I talk about it, it means that anything like any challenges you are facing specifically in this physical design domain, and how you are tackling it, how you are solving that challenge.
Okay, so I'm quite new to the VLSI itself. I have only 3.5 years of experience. So there are so many new field which is need to be learned, right? And what happens is, right, if you are working also, you have personal stuff also, so you cannot. I mean, right now it's like little difficult to little tricky to get additional time to study to upskill yourself. So what I recently started doing is, suppose some customer comes with me and they said, we need this. So instead of directly jumping on the work, I will ask so many questions with him. I try to learn from him. So whenever there is a work, right, I try to learn from that work. I mean, because if you want to study beside that, right, it's very difficult. So whenever you get time, so you get a task, right, you can go on the internet, or you can have some links, right, you can go and study in depth. Then what will happen, you are upskilling yourself, you are getting knowledge, and you will be perform better in the work also. So it's like a both will be helping each other.
yes, yes.
So this is how I'm working.
That is another interesting point. What he has meant is like, whenever you are given some task, or if you get some opportunity to interact with your seniors to clarify your doubts, so do it very ethically and do it very religiously, because in that process you will get to learn a lot of things, new things. Yeah. So coming to our next question. Okay, so one of the thing I would like to know from you, so any complex concept like you would like to talk about to our audience?
Okay, so when we design any chip in VLSI, right? Any chip. So we revolve around three factors actually. That's called PPA: power, performance, area. So these are like three things. So when you are designing a chip, you always want to have it consume less power. Less power because now we have cell phones, we have IoT devices that are on battery power. We don't want to have a lot of leakage power, right? So that is you want to reduce the power, and then the performance. you want to have more computations per clock, right? You want to have more complex computation it can do. So you want to have better performance and the area. So basically this area is like the silicon area, right? How much your chip is taking, and the smaller is the area, the more chip you can produce in one wafer. So your cost eventually going to reduce. So you want to have less power, more performance, less area, but you cannot have all three together, you know. So you need to play around, right? You need to toggle between these three. So suppose if you are designing a chip which is for the cell phone, you need to focus more on the power. And suppose if you are going for HPC, high performance computing, in that case you need to have high performance, right? You can manage with power, you can have little more area, but you cannot um, give away the performance actually. So this is the three things which we always toggle, and whenever we are designing a chip, we always keep these three things in our mind, because we cannot have all these things. You cannot have less power and high speed chip actually.
So that is the, I think, the most important concept what he talked about, because PPA is the, all the companies are working on that, and they're also competing on that aspect, as well as any application you take in the industry, be it the automotive, be it the IoT, or any chip. So this PPA plays the major and the final role for all the companies. Yes. So the last question, like, before this section, this segment. So what message, or like what suggestion you want to give it to our audience, like who are looking forward to your podcast, like you to listen to you. So what advice or what message you want to give it to your audience, and so those who are aspiring to be in this industry, from like those who are in tier 2, tier 3 cities or colleges. So what is your suggestion to them?
So I can share my.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so first thing is I started my bachelor in electrical, then I did my masters in VLSI. When I entered into VLSI, it was completely new for me because most of the subject I haven't learned before. So I need, and I didn't had the coding knowledge as well. So I need to struggle a lot. Starting it will be really difficult because all the things were completely new. But after some time, right, I get the gist of the subject. I started, building the concept, the fundamentals. So that is the one thing. And what thing I did was really different, was really helpful is when I started using LinkedIn, and I wanted to be a design engineer, right? Physical design or digital design. So what I used to do, I go and basically talk to the people who are already the design engineers. I go to their profile, I see what are the certification they have, what are the skills they have, what are the education they have, and I try to see, right, if I want to be like them, right, I should have those information. I go and see their resume, and in the resume, okay, they say that okay, this is the subject they have studied. So if I think okay, this is if subject is going to help me, then I also copy the same. So I mean, it's not like you can learn from others also. If you want to be someone, right, if you want to pursue in some industry, you can just see, right, people who are already there. So that is the one thing I did. I try to contact my seniors, right? I used to talk to them. I eat their brains actually. Whenever I get time, I try to eat. I get that because I was completely new. I didn't had any knowledge of VLSI, so I supposed to get it from somewhere, right? I was doing, and those people already in the industry. So I used to talk to them, what I should study. I mean, I was very open. I used to talk. So that is the one thing also helps. And I was very open to learn new things. I started writing code when the COVID happened. That actually one good thing was there, that I don't used to go to classes now. I can study whatever I want. So on in December I studied Verilog. So there was one very good teacher actually, Indranil Sen Gupta. He is IIT professor and he has a lot of NPTEL videos. He has very beautifully explained the Verilog concepts, and then he is like all rounder of cricketer basically. So he does batting, he does bowling, he does fielding. So he has very good knowledge of Verilog digital design. When then I thought I will study the physical design. So he has already given a whole series of physical design. Then I thought, okay, now I should learn some coding. So first language I learned was Perl. So he has taught Perl also. So that is the thing, right? So I did those things. After Perl, I learned C. I learned Tickle. I started working in the Unix environment because every industry, right? You will be working in the Unix environment. It will not be a Windows, right? So you should have a basic understanding of Unix environment, how you can do all the work. So I did that also. So when you have all these things, right, then you will get sufficient. I mean, you will be kind of eligible, right? If you are giving the interview will also get to know that okay, you know all these things, then you are a good candidate.
So this is a very good suggestion what he has given.
So, and you, all of you who are aspiring to be in this industry, you should follow this because this is something which he has spoken and it's very true. And most of the, people like who are in this industry, who have started in this industry, they have gone this way because you have to understand and you have to learn from people who are already there in this industry because they are the person who can guide you better. Yeah. So we have so the last segment of this podcast is like like we have some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a little interesting. So just a rapid fire. So your favorite subject. So I have some options like CAD flow, analog electronics, digital electronics, and semiconductor physics.
Okay.
Your favorite subject?
Definitely digital electronics.
Okay. So your favorite entrepreneur. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Okay. So NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, AMD CEO Lisa Hu, or Intel CEO Pajal.
Okay, so I think I'm Intel. So I think I know a lot about Pat. I've seen in so many times. So I think he's really doing a great job. So definitely Pat. And one CEO I really like beside is the R. Digas. He's a Synopsys CEO, and he is the founder. And I think he has done a tremendously good job in reaching its company to the peak of vendor actually. Yeah.
Okay. So language Verilog, VHDL, system Verilog, C.
Very loud.
Or if you want to add something else.
Okay, so right, I think if you are in physical design, you won't be doing much work in the Verilog or VHDL. I started with VHDL because my college is a defense college, and in defense you are using VHDL. Then I learned Verilog from Indranil Sen Gupta. Then I did system Verilog, but none of them I'm using right now. So Pickle, Python is two things which I think if you know is good.
Absolutely. Okay. So one of the in a larger perspective, like which you feel according to you, so which country is going to dominate this semiconductor industry in next 5 to 10 years?
So semiconductor industry is like a global chain, right? It cannot be centralized to one country, but every country is trying their best to be semiconductor independent. Actually, every country is trying so that even though the supply chain breaks, it doesn't hamper their economy. So, but right now I think it is the US. It has always been the dominating, but all the fabrication done in the Taiwan. So that is also, and India is also having a good opportunity. So many, I think almost all the companies which is in the semiconductor industry is having its office in India. So this is all. India is also a good ecosystem for semiconductor.
Okay. So since AI is booming, so one of the question is like, so Google Gemini or like ChatGPT?
I use ChatGPT often. Yeah, so I think ChatGPT is helping a lot. And actually, there's a misconception, misconception that ChatGPT going to take away the job. Actually, what I was thinking is instead of doing the same work what ChatGPT does, right? We should leverage the ChatGPT and we should focus on the higher problems. Actually, this is what I learned. I saw in one of the video, which I think make more sense. So we should not compete with ChatGPT. We should leverage the ChatGPT and try to solve the bigger challenges. Actually.
That's
Another very good point that he has made. So leveraging the chat GPT or whatever automations are coming in the future, because there is a thing in the market that is going to take away your job, but that's not fully true. The thing is like if you upskill yourself, if you stay relevant to the market, there will always be something for you. And if you learn the update, whatever is currently updated, or whatever automation tools or whatever AI is doing, or whatever about ChatGPT, then obviously like you are going to do something in the big in this industry. So that's all like we have for this session. Like thank you. So it was a very wonderful session talking to you,
Thank you for
and like hopefully like our audience will get to learn a lot of things from this session, and they will implement this in their life and their career, so that hopefully more students and more freshers come to this industry and make this industry big and the ecosystem strong.
Yeah,
Thank you
sure.
for this
Thank you.
session. Okay.
Thank you.